In the final play of our 4-play gun split slot mini scheme that can be found in Balanced, Bengals, and Buccaneers playbooks, we're going to take a look at the play Slot Flood. Now, I like this play a lot because of square on the post route and the slot guy on a C route. These routes just by themselves are going to make this a really, really fantastic play, especially with triangle underneath. As you can see there, that is a bit of a triangle offense with square, X, and then triangle underneath. It really allows us to take advantage of the open space in the field away from defenders. Now, by default, R1 is on a table route, which is really good because as you can see, he is pulling down that hard flat, and that's going to allow us to hit X no problem whatsoever. Now, it's later in the year, and obviously people are, because these are older clips, you guys all know that by now, right? I mean, this is gameplay footage I've had from a long time ago, and a lot more people are playing cloud flats. So you do have to be a little bit more wary about that. You know, reads like X are going to be a lot tougher. So you're going to want to take that underneath stuff and force them to go hard flat. That's what we're trying to accomplish with this play. And we're going to have the outside guy circle, which his icon isn't even up for whatever reason. We're going to have him on the streak. Now, instead of the table route, one thing I like to do is triangle is on a purple route, a delayed route. I like to actually put R1 on an option route out of the backfield because it's going to sit down against zones, and sometimes we're going to have triangle and R1 kind of side by side. That's going to give us a nice, it's just going to spread out the defense a little bit and gives us the option to kind of hit one or the other, even though they do play a little bit close. We're going to get into a couple other clips, but then it's high-low reads between, as you can see here, triangle and square is a nice high-low read, and then R1 and X would be a nice high-low read. So let's continue on with the play, and as you can see here, we're able to hit that slot corner. Now, we're running this here, again, flipped. This is another thing I love about the formation, is running it flipped. They're going to be worried about that rollout to the right a lot, and so I really like X on the corner. Now here we've got, oh, it ends up being a hard flat. And this is what I'm talking about, is this is at the beginning of the year when a lot of people were calling those hard flats rather than the cloud flats. So you need to manipulate them and force them to start calling hard flats by hitting them with the table route, by rolling out, etc. So as you can see here, R1 is on the delay, and then triangle is on the option route. Let's let it sit for a second. So R1 and circle is a high-low. Triangle and X is a high-low. So that's what I really like about it. They play really, really well together. That user defender is going to have to go over, because we got the streak with square, he's going to have to go over and protect against X, or he's going to have to risk it and play down to triangle and let X run free. But even with a cloud flat there, because we've got the streak going downfield, pulling away zones, we could pass lead that up to X. So up and to the sideline, away from the cloud flat, that's going to be a completion. So I really, really like this double high-low read, and you're forcing a user to choose. And if he chooses wrong, and a lot of people, to be honest with you, when the play's happening, even if they've got a cloud flat out there and they know it might be covering X, they don't remember that. There's very few people that remember exactly what it is that they have to be covering. So they'll end up covering the same thing as what they set the defense up for, just because they forget. So let's take a look at the play, and as you can see again, we didn't pass lead there, but if we needed to, we certainly could have. Again, triangle on an option route, R1 on his delay. So we've got the high-low read again. Both of them are covered, so we can hit circle, or we can wait and see what happens with X. So there was no way X was going to be the read. We hit the only read that's available, and luckily we're facing a D-line user who's going to let us get that play. Now with that said, actually I want to say about a D-line user, A D-line user allowed us to get that to circle, which was the only read. But had we faced a user defender, we might have had another read open because obviously he'd be controlling a linebacker, taking away one of the defenders, allowing us to hit somebody else open. So, I don't like people that use their defensive line. I think they're bums, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just because somebody's using a defensive line that coverage can't be there, right? As you see there, we hit the nice little post route. We had R1 on an out route instead. It's just, I love this play so much. You just look at it. I know gun split close, PAF slide is fantastic. And obviously gun split close in general. But I like the combination of the corner route and triangle sitting down on his route and the post route in behind. I like this route combination better than the gun split close flood play, just because of the way that it's set up and it's not close together and easy for your opponent to kind of read and user defend. As you see here again, we've got the two reads underneath. He's got to choose. And then we've got, we could have hit square. He chooses X. We just dump it off really, really quick to the running back. So that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I explained everything, well enough for you guys. This is a great scheme. Obviously, if you play in CFM and you use a custom playbook, the only downside to this scheme is that the personnel is 2 running backs and 3 wide receivers and no tight ends. You're going to have, there's no playbook that has any other formation that you can use. If you come out in this formation, they're going to know that's the formation and you can't audible, of course, if they know their playbooks. But if you're a schemer like I am and you play CFM, certainly go ahead. I love the formation weak eye slot. That's a play that I posted earlier on in the year. The Power O with the auto motion, very underrated, fantastic run. There's a lot of stuff that you can do from the weak eye slot. There's other formations with that personnel that you can use to your advantage and really, really scheme out of it. So that's it. I'll see you guys soon.